So tell us something about yourself.
My name is Marian Octavian Leoputa, and I'm 31, Romanian, but I'm based in London for some years now. And this video is a pitch to try to get funded for a short film that I wrote a script for called Malako Esti, which is Russian for "Is there milk?" This is a question that my uncle asked a young woman on the Eastern Front in 1942, because being part of the Romanian army, they were lacking equipment, they were lacking clothing and ammunition and so on, and including food. So they had to resort to civilians in order to not basically starve.
How did you come up with the idea for the film?
The film is based on real characters, actually, from the memories of my uncle, who was a World War II veteran.
Tell us about the film.
The film Malako Esti is going to tell the story of humanity in times of need and in times of war, and is gonna touch on a topic that is very hard to address. It is considered taboo. It is a topic that people tend to suppress, but my film is going to shed light on one of the most common war crimes, which was the rape, and it's going to do so through very explicit and gruesome imagery.
What's the purpose of the film, and what do you hope for it to achieve?
Well, the film sets out to educate, first of all, bring forward the female perspective in times of war, because I feel like this is not addressed enough in the films I've seen. It's always the male character that has a story to tell, but never the female. The action in the film Malako Esti takes place in 1942 on the Eastern Front near the river of Donetsk, and it presents a Romanian soldier who got lost from his company and who was trying to get back to his company, to his battalion, and in doing so he comes upon a house in the middle of the wilderness, and in that house he learns that there's a young woman living there by herself. So although they are officially enemies, they manage to see beyond that. She is a very intelligent woman, actually, and she has a strong character. She is physically strong, and she's a good judge of character, and she immediately can tell that he's a good person, he's a decent person. She just accepts him in the house and agrees to take care of him. So what she does, she feeds him, she offers him a place to rest, she washes his uniform. While they are just enjoying time together, they hear some noise afar, and then because he's not supposed to be there, they just agree that he should hide for the moment. So then he goes into hiding, and then two men walk into the room. And as I was saying, she's very smart, and she can immediately tell that they are Russian deserters. They don't say anything, they had their plan made. They were going to enjoy themselves, because being a deserter, you can only go this far. As soon as you're caught, you're going to be executed. So then their mindset is, there's nothing to lose, so I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my very, very short life. One of them is trying to make a move on her, and she's fighting back. Now he allows his very sadistic side of him to come out, and he is very physical with her. He punches her, and then he throws her across the room, and then this noise is heard by the Romanian soldier who's hiding. The Romanian soldier knows that he has a decision to make. Is he going to stay put, or is he going to get involved and try to save her while risking his own life? it is this moment when he becomes a man. He's a hero. He's a soldier on the front, and he lives in the moment. So there's no before and there's no after. He decides, I'm here, and this is all that matters, what happens now. Not in the past, not in the future. He's a soldier, so he's a hero. He's on the front, he's fighting, he needs to stay alive. But then he also needs to do the right thing. And the right thing at the moment is to risk his life to save somebody that is innocent. So he's trying to make noise to attract the deserters from her, and this results in them finding him, and a fight breaks out. The film Malako Esti, while is bilingual, being spoken in Romanian and Russian as well, it is going to also have the element of non-verbal communication.
Tell us a bit about the projects you've done so far.
For some years now, I've been doing videos on my own and with the help of my mother, who was very actually excited about my newfound passion. So I taught her how to use the DSLR, how to use the zoom. I remember this time that we were filming, it was years ago, and we were filming this scene in the cemetery, and the grass was quite tall in the cemetery and the ground was uneven, so you couldn't really see where you're going. At some point while filming, I think it was like the millionth take of the day, at some point she just like, stop, I messed it up again. I was very annoyed. This was such a dramatic and cinematic take that I actually used it in one of my videos, but it was funny because she tried very hard, and I was very appreciative of her. She got much better in time, and we did a very good job together, whether it was the videos or pictures that would support the projects that I had.
Tell us about the first film.
The name of the film is Veterani, which means veterans. I got a team, I got a cameraman, I got a sound guy, I got 2 actors, went location scouting, bought makeup. I speak to these guys and I say, look, I have this project, are you interested? Now these are professional people, and I asked them to come like 600 kilometers to my city, and on the day they actually come there and they actually show up, and I'm like, Jesus, this is really happening. The story is about 2 neighbors from a village. My uncle and a neighbor of his was a prisoner in Siberia for 4 years, and everybody thought he was dead because official paper came from the army that he is dead. So then he just comes back after all these years, and then they meet, these 2 characters meet.
Tell us about the second film.
The second film is called Eu pe pământul românesc nu mai calc până-i lumea, which roughly translates to I'm never gonna walk again on Romanian ground. This is a thought that stayed with my uncle all throughout his service in the war, because he never thought he was going to make it out alive. When he asked his colleague to replace him at the machine gun, to be shooting the machine gun, the next thing you know, this colleague, he's shot dead. He's shot in the forehead, and he's just lying there. Then my uncle takes the machine gun because he needs to keep on shooting so the enemy doesn't come charging towards him. And then he just hears a sound, like a metallic sound, and the machine gun stops working. So he takes the magazine out, and this is what saved his life, because the incoming bullet stopped in the magazine that is this wide, and he cheated death again.
And how do you feel about acting in the film?
When I wrote the script, I had in mind my uncle and everything I learned from him, and I also had in mind myself, because throughout these years I got so involved in the story and I got to know my uncle and the character so good that I feel I have the right set of emotions that I could portray him in that story.
So how were your previous projects funded?
My previous projects were funded by myself because basically I wanted this so much that I just saved up and used the money to do them myself rather than waiting on somebody else to help me, because I was actually afraid of losing the momentum and the excitement. So then I went on and did them myself. It's not quite a legacy because I built it up. I didn't pick it up and slide it somewhere else. I built it, and when I think about it now, I've done such an extensive work. I wrote the book listening to the recordings over and over again, and I actually had to put them in chronological order because he used to say something from here, he used to say something from over there, and then I just needed to make sense of them, identify them, and then put them chronologically. So I made the book look like it's a diary. I thought to myself, this is a message that is appealing to other people, and I've seen that. So how can I take it further? And then came the idea that I can do this. I can say the message through video, and that's how I started writing the script for the first short film and continued then with the second short film. And now it's 10 years since I met him and 7 years since he died, and I'm still involved so much. I mean, actually I'm more involved now than ever into taking his message and telling the story onwards, that I actually need funding to say it properly and at a different quality than I've done it so far on my own. I feel this is something that's much bigger than me, and this will be a legacy. I feel very lucky that I met a participant in war, and I heard the stories directly from him. So I gathered all of them, and I started writing the book after he died because I felt like I was the only person in the world who has this wealth of information that no one else has. Although he has interacted with so many people, he has told the stories so many times, but I am the one who actually has them and can put them together, and wrote a book and told his story for him because he couldn't.
How do you see your uncle's legacy being adapted in the future?
Ideally, all the story of my uncle would turn into a mini-series. Now that's what I'm hoping for. Getting to that level, getting that funding, and putting the story out there.
How do you feel the Romanian army has been represented on the Eastern Front in cinematography so far?
The story of the Romanian army in World War II is not represented. It hasn't been represented yet in cinematography, and I think it is time, and it's well due, that we should actually tell the truth. We should tell the truth that out of the foreign nations that were their allies with the Germans, the Romanian army was the least equipped, the most hungry, the most full of lies. And I've seen films, even Romanian films, that do not tell this story. It is just some propaganda, heroism bullshit, but not how hard it was. And it was those people who suffered over there and came back with all the traumas. And it is something that should be addressed as it truly was.